His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. He's ever living, he's ever faithful, he's ever sure. Welcome to ReggaeTelevisionNetwork.com. We're coming to you live from Scarborough, Ontario. And thank you for being here with us on this Saturday morning. And you know, if it's Saturday morning, it's the Sabbath morning. And I always encourage you to read Psalms 119. It's that cleansing psalm that clear up the cobwebs of last week and give you vigor for the week ahead so you can be successful and happy. And I'm really happy you're here this morning because, you know, it is a very important weekend. It's one before the American election. I like to bring that in because, you know, we're watching. And I'd like to wish President Obama all the best luck so that he is successful on Tuesday. Now, with us this morning in our studio, we have a Juno Award-winning music producer. And we're very pleased and happy he's here with us. We're going to talk to him in details about what he does. And I'd like to welcome at this time, Orville Malcolm. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. It's, you know, we talked a little bit before, you've done so much and you're doing so much. And even the music that's playing in our background, you're the producer of that music.
Yes.
Yes, and that's Isax, InJah. He was here last week with us. So this is a real treat to have the artist last week and the producer this week. All right. So you have a big project which is called Cornerstone.net. And so I want you to talk to us about that because I was reading on your website, the bio, about this concept that you have.
Okay. Well, Cornerstone Inc. is actually a production company that me and my co-founder, Howard Sinclair, put together in the early 2000s. And mainly starting off as doing production, but at the same time thinking about the other aspects of music marketing and industry as far as getting the music out to the general public or to the consumer, as opposed to just focusing just on one area. So we'll be trying to expand on that and try to at least make a connection with people from whichever part of the world that they are through internet and just trying to make the connection with the consumer, making the music available to them. And at the same time also developing talent, local talent, and giving them a platform and an opportunity to be able to expose to the consumer that normally would not hear about them or just normally have the opportunity to hear the stuff that they're doing.
And of course, the internet gives you that reach.
Yes.
You know, it's I love that technology, I tell you.
Well, it's growing pretty big now, and it's a real driving force now, a real serious vehicle for anybody that's trying to get themselves exposed to the general public.
You basically can really get yourself out there and reach out to people. Yeah, that's terrific. Well, you know, I mean, you talk about bridging that gap between consumer and artist. And of course, we know that once people hear good music, they're going to gravitate.
That's right.
Yeah, so describe in kind of details what is the process of really getting that, you know, that bridge to, you know, that gap to bridge. You know, I mean, you talk about the internet, you talk about, you know, grooming young artists. You know, how do you get people to really feel in your work when you're producing your work?
I think a large portion of it has to do with is getting the artists or the production to really have the right elements and contents in there. You know, something that is tangible, touchable. That because a lot of times you only have one opportunity, you know, to really make that impression on the person that's going to click and decide to check you out. And you know, so we try to on the artists to like do the best presentation that they can. We're always learning and developing, but at the same time, there's no better time than now when you have the opportunity to do the best that you can. And we always try to always talk about that and push that part of it, that you do the best that you can do, because you never know who's going to.
Yeah. Of course, you have to use all your senses so that people can feel you, hear you, touch you, even though you're not there.
Yes.
You know, music. Yeah. Well, that's terrific, because I'm sure, you know, if a project has the right ingredients and the right individual, then you have success. Yeah.
There's a lot of different elements that help make that happen. You know, talent is a portion of it. Marketing and promotion is such a huge factor. You know, to actually make everything successful. You know, so we try to focus on all the different areas that is needed to actually make the connection.
Make the connection. Yeah. Well, you know, you talked a little bit about your partner, Tower Sinclair.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's not here today, but you guys are partners.
Yes.
And you have a really unique working relationship that I admired when I read it in your bio. And it seems to me it is that recipe for success. You know, cooperation first of all is there, but you know, talk us through how that came about, where you both kind of decided that you're going to lean towards individual strengths to bring together a whole that people can really feel.
Well, I think the individual strengths, we already had that, and just being able to recognize that he had qualities that I didn't have, as well as I had some things that he didn't possess, right? But we're both trying to be masters within what we're doing,
Right.
And at the same time trying to collaborate and incorporate all the different elements that we can bring to the table. We're both very serious about the end result, about the music. We're very serious about the integrity of the music. That it's something that you can feel, and something that when you go back and listen to, you can get something out of it. You know. So that is one of the key things that makes what we do work. First of all, having that attention to that type of detail, and then being as the factor that you know, I play multiple instruments and he plays multiple instruments, but at the same time we just constantly just incorporate, because some ideas that I would do, he might hear it differently. You know, so we just trade off back and forth sometimes on different ideas and stuff like that. We try to, you know, if we sit together, I hear something, I can tell him, and he'll just do it, and vice versa, he'll tell me, and I'll just try it and stuff like that, you know, without any reserve. And through that type of cooperation, that type of practice, we've been able to really develop a lot of really neat ideas and different styles and, you know, unique sounds and stuff like that.
Wow. So like you two are friends too.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So how?
Brothers more.
Yeah.
Well, not
blood brothers, but brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Brothers from another mother. That's there you go. See, now that sounds to me like that is the ingredient that is needed for any community or any project to succeed.
Yeah.
Is that first you have to embrace, you know, the other person as a brother, as a, you know, as a loved one.
Yes.
And then of course you compromise.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you're able to get along. You know, because you know, we have our moments where we can disagree and knock heads, but we can talk about things and move on. And continue the working relationship and the unique connection that we have.
Wow. How did you two meet?
Oh, we met a long time before. We used to play, do some live gigs on the scene. That's how I first met him. But he was with Messenger at the time. So this was kind of before I became a part of Messenger too. So
Part of Messenger?
yeah.
As a producer? But as a band member?
As a band member and a producer. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Now, this is amazing because the first time I experienced Messenger, it was in the park, Central Park.
Yes.
I mean, this is like early 80s, isn't it? Like 84 maybe? Or 83 around there. And I was, I was taken to this park, and they said, we're going to listen to this band. And, I was like, oh my God! And it was like the beautiful trees, and it was warm, and there was this band just belting out this great reggae sound. I must have danced my feet off in the park. Wow, this is great. Oh, terrific. So you guys work on what did he play in Messenger?
He's bass player.
He's bass player. What did you play?
Keyboards.
Your keyboards?
Yeah.
And Errol Blackwood was?
Well, Errol Blackwood had already left the band when Charles.
Post Errol. Yeah. And the singer, the lead singer.
Rupert.
Rupert?
Yeah.
Yeah, OGG. Yeah. And so he was the lead singer, of course, while you were in the band. Yeah. Now there's a fiery character, small, shorter.
Laser Current.
Laser Current. Yeah. I know. I kind of know him. I met him years ago. Yeah, and he did some single work, didn't he?
Yes, he eventually went on to his own solo career, which he's doing now.
Yeah.
His first solo album I produced.
You produced it. Oh man, this is terrific.
Yeah.
See, like you got these magic hands in this music industry.
Well, I got involved, wherever.
Yeah, because I like his music. His music used to play heavily on Much Music and all of that. I've seen his video much time there. So, you got magic hands. Yeah, that's and of course good taste, and of course training. Oh, terrific. Now we're talking about your success as a producer for Messenger, but you've produced numerous bands that have really gone on and done well. Give us some of those bands and stuff that we would know that you've done, because I read you work with a lot of people. Now we talk about Laser. Did you ever produce anything for Errol Blackwood?
No, not directly. I've done some recording with him because I'm an engineer as well.
Musical engineer.
Yeah, so I've done some recording with him, but I haven't directly produced any track from him yet. We've talked a bit in the past, but sometimes the opportunity hasn't really made
itself.
Yeah.
Well, certainly I hope all these geniuses I've had in the studio, including yourself, we're going to just see a rise in what's out there available to the people, because people really, really need good music.
Yes.
They need music that really touches their hearts and their soul, music that want to lead them in the right direction, Because, there's a lot of music out there, but does it inspire you to want to follow Jah? Does it inspire you to want to love your brother, man, Does it inspire you to want to really see a bright future like reggae music does, and not really dwell on the pain of the present, And it also encourages you to really dig deep and see your past, so you can appreciate your present and have a vision for your future. Reggae music do all of this, So I'm passionate about getting out there to the people so that they really can appreciate it, Because since Bob left, I think it's kind of suffered a little bit of blow, Because Bob was such a huge character, such a huge man, huge figure, That when he left, I think he left us all in shock. And we're kind of all still, even though some great work has been done, and we don't take anything from, many great artists out there, but I truly believe that we need that Bob effect, to get it out there again, because it's unappreciated in many markets.
That's true.
And one of them is here. And we're going to change that. We're going to change that. And with geniuses like yourself, my goodness, I can't wait now. That's good. Now, you live in Canada like all of us here, but you also travel all the whole place. I couldn't get you for weeks because you were like away in Barbados and you just kind of got back. Bermuda.
Yeah.
Bermuda.
Yes. Well, I'm a touring musician too, so I've had a fair bit of opportunity to do a bit of traveling, meet different people and stuff like that, and I know different people from different parts of the world, and being well connected with so many individuals, a lot of times I have invitations to go and do productions and different stuff in different places, you know?
Because they know that if you have your hands in that project, it's going to be something, you know, reputation really is a good thing. And it walks before you. So you've really put it out there, because I'm just listening to Isax, InJah, and I'm just in another planet, just, you know, talking to you and just listening to this sweet music, and it's all like, you know, real nice, and to think that you have a hand in all of this. So, you know, that leads me to think, like, I'm kind of a writer, kind of. So I get my pleasure from sitting there and writing and developing characters and, you know, stuff like that, right? When you're producing music, where does your pleasure, you know, where do you get that center of pleasure from?
Wow. I guess it starts first with my love and appreciation for the music. I love the music and appreciate it by myself. In a room with just a keyboard or another instrument, and I'm going to feel the love, you know, surging out of me, you know, even by myself. So any opportunity I have that I'm working with someone, I'm going to apply that same full-hearted and passion into it, you know, and I like to feel what I'm doing, you know, and sometimes it's not always there, but that's the main objective, you know, is to try and feel something from it, you know, get something from it, feel that deepness to it, you know, that because I know if I feel it, really feel it, others feel it.
Others feel it too.
Yeah.
So if an artist come to you and you see something in them, you kind of get a sense that, but it's not there. How do you pull it out of them? Like, do you have a method that you use?
I would try to maybe assess you know, the areas that they are good at and work on those strengths, and at the same time the areas where they could strengthen, we work on those too. And, you know, just really just encouraging and just trying to bring them up to the mark, to their full potential. You know, that potential that makes someone stop for a second and let me take a second listen or a second look and check this person out, you know. Everyone has different depths of talent, you know, and we're not all equal, but we all have talent.
All have talent, for sure. Especially when it comes to singing?
Well, maybe not in singing.
Okay.
Maybe in film. Maybe in writing books. There's talent in everybody.
Yeah.
You know, some people are just naturally born with it. Some people have to work on it. Some people learn it. You know, and they have a good skill for learning something that they're really interested in. They develop it well. You know, so. Different talents, you know, bring out different things, you know.
Yeah. So do you have a point where you say, okay, look, I've tried, but you have no talent?
I don't know if I've ever really dealt with someone where I reached to that point where I had to tell them that, you know, just you know, give this up, right?
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to music, music is supposed to be more of a personal journey, as opposed to someone that decides to do it just for the sake of it, for fame or fortune, and that's where the wealth is at. So some people will do it. They're not the greatest of artists, but they love what they're doing, and they put everything into what they're doing. You know, and with someone like that, I can find the time to help them to
cross that bridge.
To develop their love, you know.
Wow. Well, that takes patience. That's another character. It seems like you have to be a producer. You have to have patience.
Yeah, you gotta have patience.
Yeah. Wow.
Not everybody has patience. I mean, some producers will be, you know, kind of very stiff toward how they would like things to be, you know, and I guess sometimes that's where you sometimes have personality clashes, or the fact is that artists is not getting the most out of what they're trying to do, just because of the I guess the misconnection, you know.
Well, there you go. So if you can get them to connect, then you can get them to share what they have.
Yes.
What they have. Yeah. Well, that's terrific. Now, I was on your website and I saw, I think maybe Facebook page, and I saw this website maybe. No, on the website you sent me, and this beautiful young lady. I thought, wow, what a lovely girl. Now she's only 16. Caitlin Castle. Caitlin Castle?
Yes.
What is she doing? Like, why is so special that she's the only beautiful girl on your site in your?
Well, that's on the Producer Records, right? And she's a young female artist that I've been working with since she just turned 15. Oh. And when I met her, she already just had the voice and the character, her personality, and everything was just like something is there, right?
Yeah,
she is limitless, you know, because she's extremely talented, not just in the singing and the writing, you know. She's an artist as well.
Wow.
And
sounds like a dynamic force coming up.
Yeah, and she's what's the other thing she likes to say she does. She's also a dog breeder, you know.
A what?
Breeder, you know, breed dogs. You know,
oh, she breeds dogs? Oh, she loves dogs?
Yeah,
champion dogs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a talent, you know, because you have to be able to relate.
Yeah. She gets that from her parents.
Her parents?
Yeah, they're dog trainers and not breeders, yeah.
So that probably proves my theories that to be a true artist, you've got to be open. Have a huge open heart.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and from there everything comes out. Whether it's love of mankind, or love of animals, or love of plants, or love of inanimate things, you know, just that pure love.
Love of life.
Love of life.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's amazing because, you know, we know that there's certain problems in our community, you know, and, you know, no less of them is that gun play that seems to, you know, just be all over the place. You know, and I sometimes wonder, is it lack of love why we do this? Or does it lean more towards, as the Bible puts it, ignorance, you know? So, like, what is it, and do you see any solution that we can reach those young men who seem to make it so easy to pull a gun and just fire at his brother man, whom he's supposed to love, cherish, and watch out for? We just had one this week.
Yes.
You know, this young man looked so promising, and we saw his father crying, you know, feeling this pain of this loss. And as a parent, I feel it for him. What do you see? What do you see in the future for solution to this? Like, what is it?
Well, it is partly a lack of love for self and brother,
yes.
you know. And I think that it's a bit of a disconnect, where the fact is that they're not connecting with what life is about, you know, because regardless of where you come from or the situations that you come from, you can evolve from that, you know.
That's right.
But you have to be able to find the strength and the positiveness in life and in the creator and purpose, you know, and you know, drop off the negativity, the negative vibes and the negative feelings and the negative thoughts. I mean, wanting to take someone's life or vengeance or anything like that, that's all negative, and to be wrapped up in it, it can't be good.
No,
you know,
no.
I mean, some are able to break away from it, you know, for whatever things that sometimes take place in life. You know, sometimes it takes a moment or an incident sometimes to make you snap and change your point of view or your whole perception on what you thought, you know, living was about, you know. And to me, I don't consider them living yet. They're just not seeing it. They're not seeing it, and sometimes they have to be inspired, and that's one of the strengths of reggae music, is being able to inspire young men, young women to see true love and true life, and what their purpose should be, making humanity and liberty more a priority, as opposed to just kind of aimlessly just living day to day and don't really have a direction or a goal, which is, in this day and age is an easy thing to get caught up in.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I'm telling you, I just can't see how easy it is to get into a sloth living. For you and I who, feel passion and know that you have to put the work in to get where you want to go, I just cannot understand that individual who wants to live a slothy life, just lazy, life. I just can't understand it, because they did mention in the news report that this young man who was killed was found with, 2 types of drugs in his pocket. So that relates to that lazy, easy lifestyle that they want to, carry on. So that has a lot to do with what happens too.
Yes. I guess that's also part of the economic struggles that young people and folks have come from a disadvantaged background or situation. They sometimes allow themselves to fall into. But then again, it comes back to not having a positive vision as far as where their life is going, because how long can you do that?
Yes.
If you try to take a moment and take a journey a few decades ahead in your life, like, when are you going to be and doing that, when you turn a certain age, you can't be doing the same thing all the time, right?
There you go. It's significant they said that, because most of these people, the oldest kind of involvement that I've heard is like 38. Even 40 sounds like a little bit too crazy to me to be at that age and still continue that. But, most of these people are very young. You're talking about this guy, I think he was 26. You got 24s, you got 22-year-olds. So it do take them early.
Yeah, and they're having, I guess, nowadays it seems like, because I guess back in the day, before when young men would keep up certain activities, after they reach a certain age, they would drop it off. But nowadays, they're having a hard time shaking it off, going into their late 20s, into their 30s, sometimes into their 40s. They can't shake it, because there is no goal. And like what I was saying before, everyone has a talent, but no one doesn't always know how to tap into the talent. They don't even know what the talent is. They might have had something that inspired them when they were younger and lost the vision. Lost the vision, got caught up with something else, and and they're stuck with trying to make a few fast dollars on the corner.
Boy, that always ends up bad. I always feel it ends up bad.
Always ends up bad.
Yeah. So here he is. Okay, so here is this poor guy. He's really carrying on this, this lifestyle too long. So now he has to change. Do you have any kind of advice you could say how you can change? As a matter of fact, I spoke to someone the other day. He's 53 years old, and he's back at George Brown. He's back at George Brown, and he's taking a different path, and he's learning something new. For that guy out there who, he's caught up in this life and he just can't see a way, how do you get him to think or know that maybe, going back to school might be a good thing? Like, if his parents hasn't gotten there and his lifestyle hasn't taught him, how do you reach him at that age, at that stage?
We never stop learning in life. We're forever learning if we allow ourselves to. And all things that are achieved or there's X amount of work that's put into it. You gotta make some effort and stuff like that. You can't get anything handed to you all the time. unless you come from a very wealthy background.
Like you're Mitt Romney.
But as you said, like the person that reached was, you know, up in age and decided to go back to school. That's him finally realizing that where he was in life, that wasn't the end. Because we're never really at the end. You know, we can always change our paths. We can always change the direction where we're going. We can always decide to take another journey in life, regardless of age. You know, people reach 60 years and decide to do something that they never thought they would be doing, and being open to opportunity. You know, and at the same time, being able to recognize that life is for living, and the negative things, taking someone else's life or trying to bring a negative harm to someone else, you know, at the end of the day, that comes back. That comes back, and it doesn't really, you know, do anything or advance the cause at the end of the day. And they turn around and end up, you know, suffering from the same sword that you.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Because the Bible doesn't lie.
That's right. That's right. So for the young man, I guess that, you know, they can be ignorant sometimes. You know, the misconnection with communication, because a lot of times it's hard for them to humble themselves to think that they could learn something from somebody, you know, or they could learn a word from somebody, something that, you know, that sinks into their soul and actually, you know, grows a different direction out of their heart, you know. But right now, I think that a lot of them sometimes are hurting, you know, for many different reasons, and they have a hard time humbling to listen to advice from someone that can really tell them something that will help them.
Maybe, you know, younger, you know.
Younger or older, mostly older, but they miss the opportunities all the time, you know, and every time they miss the opportunity, they're one step closer to, you know, a bad outcome.
A bad outcome, like, you know, Marcus Garvey always says, like, was it one step forward, two step back? When you don't listen, two step back, you know. When you keep repeating the same mistakes, the same activity over with the same mistakes and outcome, two steps back, you know. So it really is about you taking that one step, that next step, and start going back.
Yeah, you got to be open, you know, can't be always closed-minded. Doesn't mean that everything that you hear is for you. That's right. But you have to be willing to be open, because being open, you be open for that 1% of word that's going to bring change.
Yeah. So how do you be discerning? How do you develop a discerning instinct? Like, because a lot of us, we just kind of move from day to day and work to work, but you have to kind of develop, you know, discerning instinct to know what is good and what, because some people just don't turn to the Bible like you and I would to know what is good and what is right. They don't have parents that will, you know, direct them in what is right and what is good. I mean, my kids would like to not hear me talk all the time, but I have to constantly say what I learned to be good and what I know is not to be right. So, you know, how do you develop that if you're older and, you know, and you need some help? Just to know the right thing to do. If you're so arrogant that you won't listen, what else can you tap into? Because I'm telling you, this is important. Because I know a lot of our men are missing the opportunity to be great.
That's true.
A lot of them miss the opportunity to be great, and because they're missing the opportunity to be great, then the world is missing their greatness.
That's true.
And we can see how that affects our society.
That's true. They got to be willing to look at individuals that are doing great things.
There you go.
That are coming from the same places they're coming from.
Okay.
Well, relatively the same place, you know. You know, Barack Obama is a great example, right? He may not be parallel to all the things that you believe, But at the same time, as a man coming from where he's coming from, that should inspire individuals who says that, well, even if, I'm not becoming president or prime minister, I can do something just as great.
Yeah.
MP, counselor, there's different areas,
A volunteer.
Volunteer.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, you can learn so much from volunteering, and that can lead to so many opportunities.
That's right. Once the ball starts rolling, you never know what.
You never know what comes from that.
Yeah.
I think that's lacking in our community too. That spirit of volunteering. We seem to. I like to really delve into what's happening with us, because we have to change things, and I believe that through conversation, we can change it, right? So, I think that volunteering spirit, that giving spirit, that used to be, that was what that brought us to this point. And I think a lot of that is lacking right now, the giving of oneself.
That's right. That's true. That's true. I guess that comes from a point where, they're being more selfish, right? And not willing to share themselves with others or with the world. Bob would always say all the time that if his life was just for him alone, he wouldn't want it.
He wouldn't want it. That's something.
But through the practice of giving, you start to learn the worth of what you get back in return.
Right.
Because you're touching people's lives, you're touching people's existence and their futures. You'll say a word to one person and see them 10 years later, and from what you said to them has helped them to evolve into something great.
Something great.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
And so you can't miss all, opportunities.
True, because I've had that experience, because coming to Canada so young, and then assimilating myself into the society, you kind of miss where important things lie. And I remember when one older man came to me and he said to me, "You need to read, young lady." I guess he looked at me and he realized that there was something lacking in this girl that made me reading my full up, right? And so he said, "You need to read," and he didn't stop there. He sat me down and he gave me a list of books that I should go get. And it was like, I always see that moment as that change for me, And the first book on the list he gave me was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I will never forget that, because the first book I went out and got. And of course, by the time I got a third through Malcolm X's autobiography and seeing the strength, this character, this man was willing to risk everything for the love of his fellow man, I just fell in love with this guy. So for an instant there I thought, so it must be Allah. And then of course I was open up to Rasta, and he says, no, it's about Rasta. And I truly believe that if Malcolm had lived on, he would have been a lot swearing, love preaching man, because he saw that. But reading is really something that changed my life.
Yeah. There's many areas that a person can be inspired from. That fork in the road point. Where you make the
recognize
right, you make the right choice or the right decision, go down the right path that evolves into greater things for you. And some people miss the opportunity all the time when they reach that fork in the road when somebody says a word, or because you can learn from sometimes from the simplest things sometimes in a day that a very insignificant thing could be a huge thing. And the only way you're going to notice that is paying attention to it.
Yeah. Well, I can't help understanding that it's this deep thinking and deep feeling that you have as a musician, and you have as one who brings out creative talented people. That really I can't help but thinking this is what really makes you the person you are today. Is this this deep love that you have. And so of course you express that through your own music and through other people's music. And so you develop companies that will make this happen. So talk to us about this Oluge that you have.
Oluge is more of a project music thing that we do, me and Jeff Holden. And what that kind of stemmed from was first of all our first love for reggae music, and from some of the great pioneers like Lee Perry, and there's another guy that his name slipped my mind right now, but dub-wise reggae music, right? Experimented with reggae music and just kind of doing different stuff with it that makes people say, oh, that's different, or that's, so we started to kind of collaborate different ideas like that, and at the same time incorporating sometimes signature artists to sometimes sing on some tracks and stuff like that, maybe do their own thing. We've had an opportunity to work with Roy on
Roy, he's been since my youth, and he's still going strong.
Yeah, and we did some stuff with Gregory, we did some stuff with Ken Boot, more veteran singers because, they just have something. They just have something. What did you do with Gregory? Because he's gone now. We recorded over one of his earlier tracks he had recorded before, but we had done it over and did it in a dub-wise fashion with Gregory, which that was a treat to Gregory,
He's so sweet.
Yeah.
When the Gregory song comes on, you want to listen, you want to dance, you want to feel, you want to do everything with Gregory because he's so captivating.
I want to listen to what he's doing.
And the little sounds he made, they're so real. They just appeal to all your senses. That's a real musician, that guy. Yeah. He certainly is missed because when you hear Night Nurse, it's almost like timeless, but yet it puts you in a place where when you first heard it, it brings you back to when you first heard it, but yet it's timeless. So he really, he was something. So he's definitely missed.
Yes, he is, and as well as individuals like Sugar.
Yeah. Sugar Minor.
Yeah.
So did Desi Minor, his cousin from Arsenal Ska.
Okay.
He was a guest here. Him and his whole band came. They played. That was a fabulous day. They just played the whole thing, and he's a real entertainer. That Desi. He's got the personality on stage. That is, it's just what do you call it? It's almost like infectious. You just want to watch him do what he does and listen to what he says. So was his cousin? I'm not really too familiar with Sugar. Was his cousin like that, Sugar Man? Because I know I love his songs too.
Sugar, I know him as really a serious singer. Real singer. He'll sing and keep on singing and non-stop.
So you love what he did?
Yeah, he did love what he did. He had a lot of really great songs and stuff like that. And you have to really go into the catalog of Sugar Minott and listen to his stuff to say, oh, he sang that, or he sang that.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm always surprised I see Sugar Minott. Is him?
He had a lot of songs that did really well, in the dance hall and stuff like that. But a lot of artists never really got their full,
their full due.
To what they put into the music. And it just shows that he's now gone, but his music still lives on. Visit any dance hall or reggae party or any place they play reggae music, and you're gonna hear at least one or two tracks.
Because even his name is so fishy, Sugar Minott. You just want to say his name. Yeah.
Well, it was the way he did his thing. That's where the sugar came from.
The sugar came from sweet.
So it should create some curiosity to go and check him out.
That's true. It's amazing because I love Jamaican life because you're always named by what you're known to do. Like, if somebody says shorty, that person is definitely a shorty, right?
Yeah.
And if that person call you sugar, that person's sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet talking, talk, they're always named by what they dare. Nicknames anyways. Yeah. Now, at the top of the show, I talk about you being a Juno award-winning producer for Messenger, but you were also the Canadian Reggae Music Award winning producer of the year for 2002.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously you've had your awards, what you do. That must give you a certain amount of satisfaction to be, validated as what you do.
It's a nice thing to be recognized by your peers. It doesn't lessen the work
Or the pressure.
or the pressure.
Okay.
You're still looking to move forward and do greater things, right? What last thing that I did, my next thing has got to be better.
Yeah.
So
it puts more pressure on you?
it kind of puts more pressure on you because you're looking to greater things, not really so much for the accolades, but for, like I said, if you have a love for the music, right? You're listening for, you're feeling for something more. You're getting more out.
For your own personal satisfaction, so you can satisfy others.
Well, it has to start from your own personal satisfaction, right? It is always going to be just about somebody else liking it all the time. Long run, it doesn't work out, because it's not really authentic. It's not really real. It wasn't really you. You were doing what
you thought people wanted to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then you're like, hey, we've been wrong. Isn't he something? Yeah. I tell you, this has been an eye-opening campaign. Because I've been watching politics since 1971. As a kid in Jamaica, I find myself on political trucks screaming and yelling for PJ. Okay. I'm not even sure now, if I knew who PJ was, if I ever saw him, but the excitement carried me, and I just thought, I love this political thing. So once I came to Canada, I started watching from, Nixon and all that. So coming up to this time and seeing Barack and Romney, it is just truly amazing. That's great stuff. Now, I know there's lots of young producers out there listening and wanting to know, what good advice does he have for me as a young producer coming up? What can he tell me,
I would say you got to study the greats, those that been doing it before. The sounds that inspired you, you got to go back to see how they did it. The good and bad thing about technology is the fact is that, in a sense, it makes things easier.
Yes.
And it brings opportunity closer to you. But at the same time, you can fall into the rut of no feel, no substance, right? Because a lot of things you can just input into a computer and play back what it thinks you want to hear.
Right.
One of the things that started to happen was, everyone would, young producers would, to build beats and stuff like that, which making beats with a lot of the programs and stuff like that is easy to do. I started recording from the day when we were using reel-to-reel, right, where them things were not an option, right? We either had it right or
go back and do it again.
Right. So that thing of trying to make it right or trying to find the right sound or the right feel, or again, being a musician, are some of the elements that are missing from a lot of the young producers, right? Because it's easy to get nowadays to become a producer in hip hop or stuff like that, but the texture and the depth of the music is not there, and they have to invest time and effort into making it more than just a beat, making it more than just something to listen to for 3.5 minutes. Because
gotta touch lives.
Yeah. Well, you gotta touch lives, and it says that when it comes to talent, I believe everyone has some talent, but they have to be able to tap into it and make it work, not just stay on the surface, and not just think it's just about just one thing alone, but diving a little bit deeper, making it more,
Well, I tell you, my love for singing got me to the point where I thought I might just take singing lessons, until I turned around and saw the music teacher laughing at me. I mean, this is. I mean, they said sing, and I just thought I'd just sing what I could sing, and I happened to turn around and she was laughing at me. So she says, maybe you should try something else. And I took her at her word because you know what? I realized that singing is something that's so hard for me, and if it's so hard for me, then obviously it's not for me, because it has to come with a relative ease somewhere, right? So as I said, people we have dreams, but we don't always have the time.
Well, that's one way to look at it, but then who's to know?
Who's to know?
Who is to know?
You, I think, honest with yourself.
Yeah. Who's to know? It's all comes down to choice.
Yeah.
You choose to do something, you apply yourself to it. And I don't think a vocal coach can really decide whether or not it is or not for somebody.
So maybe I should have just stepped past her and tried harder.
Maybe would have shocked her.
I'm so sorry.
She'd be sitting down watching you on
yeah, but she was not the only one, so I'm not gonna give that argument too soon. Now, maybe give us a couple of things that you learned from producers ahead that has really made a difference in, producers gone before you that has really made a difference in your career.
I think attention to detail and attention to preparation. Knowing what it is that you're trying to do, what the end result is going to be, and being able to make it happen. Producers like Quincy Jones to me comes to mind, right? A lot of the stuff he's produced came out of ideas in his head.
Yes.
I mean, all these things are floating in his head.
Yes.
He penned them and, trying to get the right sound, the right texture, the right nuances, and, 100 takes if it takes. Whatever it takes. And I mean, he's coming from a art school, where if you had to spend 5 years working on it, you spend 5 years working until you get it right. Because when it's right, he's going to feel good within himself, and everybody's going to appreciate what he put into it.
And it lasts forever.
Yeah.
And his success certainly tells that paying attention to the details was something that he really practiced.
Yeah. You can have ideas and do something, and it sounds like it, but it's not really it. But it's that choice right there, deciding whether or not you're going to just accept it kind of sounded like, as opposed to, no, let's do this thing, we got to get it just right. Get it just right.
Yeah. As an expatriate Jamaican, well, we're Jamaican no matter where we are, what would you say to other Jamaicans out there that would maybe inspire them to want to really put some investment in Jamaica, whether it's time, whether it's, giving back in terms of any kind of charity that they have any ideas about, or even through their own work, what they do. How do you inspire them to do that? Because it's important that I think we give back to Jamaica, we who come out of Jamaica.
That's true. I think Jamaica, I think Africa.
Africa, of course.
And I think a large part of it has to do with education. A lot of us have the opportunity to learn a lot outside of Jamaica, right? But we need to bring that back to Jamaica.
That knowledge
and invest in the young kids that are coming up, so they know it and they can do it, right? And not just it being something that a mere idea that is just a thought, but they can't really touch it. They can't really make it happen.
Give them concrete evidence of what they can do.
Because a lot of the wealth of knowledge is still kept outside of Jamaica. Right? There needs to be a lot more investment, I guess, into institutions and stuff like that, where it gives the opportunity for people that have knowledge in different areas to really go back to Jamaica and really have a platform to really connect with those that could benefit from it.
Did you hear what Mugabe said about Jamaican young men? Did you ever read that? And it kind of caused a controversy a few weeks ago, where he said that Jamaican young men were just interested in playing music, smoking ganja, and not going to college. So, and he was giving a speech to the young people in Zimbabwe. So he was painting a very negative picture of Jamaican young men to his people. So, like, you know, what would you say to him as a young Jamaican success story that, you know, dispute what he says?
Well, part of that is like, again, economics, right? You know, Jamaican young men, they look up to the stars are those that are achieving the great goals, right? And before, most of our celebrities, if I use that term, are singers. We don't have a lot of celebrity actors,
doctors,
a lot of celebrity writers, authors, a lot of celebrity even athletes, away from, you know, Usain Bolt. Even though the fact is that still, I mean, there has been others
without the
but they weren't representing Jamaica as well, right? They were representing other countries, right? But it shows that the fact is that there's different areas of talent there where we succeeded, you know? And I'm sure there's other areas too that we can succeed in, but I don't think the support is there yet, you know, to support those, to make it as big, because if there was those opportunities there to make it bigger in all these different fields, I think that the young men would take to it, you know, they would see an outlet, you know, with the music. Jamaica is just a sea of talent when it comes to the music. That's
so true.
That there's not enough opportunity for everybody.
Everyone.
Right? You know? So, in that retrospect, they have to be able to, you know, put their talent different places.
Pivot to other things, as well as your music. Stay with the music, but pivot to other things. And college is one of them.
Yeah, and college is one of
them.
But even with the college, you know, the I guess limitation as far as what the music brings, and you know, if that is a goal that they have, right? You know, they have to think about going outside of Jamaica to really get the type of recognition with music education and stuff like that, you know. But I think that Jamaica also has to be willing to invest in its own culture.
That's a key,
right? You know, and you know, bigging up ourselves, you know, on what we're doing.
Recognize each other and recognize ourselves.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So what's on the docket now for star producer here? What is your current project doing? What are you doing?
I'm doing so many different
things.
I'm working on a second album for Kaylin right now, and we're looking for some successful things to develop out of that. You know, we're in talks with some people right now that are really interested in her talent.
Yes.
You know, so
I'm interested in seeing her. Wow, she's just so beautiful on the picture.
Well,
for a 15-year-old.
Well, she's 17 now.
She's 17 now. Okay, that's better.
And you have to meet her and talk to her, because she's like, the minute you meet her, you're really taken in by just the way she talks, just the way she, you know, she's like the real.
Sounds like she's very cultured and very well brought up.
Yes, and she is just something else too.
Wow, yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting her.
Yeah.
Is she another Rihanna?
I think so. I think so, and the folks that we've been talking to, they think so too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to her and looking forward to all the stuff that you're doing, because just listening to Isax here is like a pleasure. You know, it makes conversation just flow. It makes your heart just kind of, you know, feel the vibes. So this is really good.
He has a few more of those coming.
Wow, he said that he has a new album coming out in 2013. And of course, we will be here to support that too, because we totally believe in the music and the artists behind the music and all of what it takes to make great sounds for us to enjoy.
I think the world is hungry for good music.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, and in a sense, we kind of gone through a little phase for a while where we weren't really sure, you know, where the acceptance or the appreciation of music was going.
Yeah.
But
I call it the Britney Spears and Spice Girl phase. Okay.
Beat Boys.
Maybe
Or Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys. There you go. Right? That phase was painful.
But when I think I've been very lucky to have the opportunity to travel a little bit and see how people are receptive to different music.
Appreciate it.
And especially the reggae music. The
Oh.
reggae music is a lot more loved than a lot of times that we really
Understand, it's true.
really understand.
It's true.
Reggae music and the reggae message, or the message that comes out of Jamaica, is more influential in the world than we even realize.
Give ourselves credit for it. It's true. It's
Any
true.
place I've gone and I check out a radio station playing reggae music, at least 50% of it is going to be music that we hear coming out of Jamaica all the time. Even if they're doing their own version of reggae there,
Yeah.
the leaders, the trendsetters, is the music coming out of Jamaica. The message in the music
Yeah.
is the trendsetter,
Yes.
you know, and that's what they're building their stuff off of, or that's what they're making their music from, or that's inspiring them to do their music. You
Wow.
know?
You know, my cousin Peter Tosh, I remember watching a video of his concert somewhere in the States, and he had a sea of young white men in front of him, almost in spirit. You know, they were just moving with him like on this wave of this reggae music, right? And he was like amazing. He was finished and they were still moving. He had them in that trance, and I thought only reggae music can transcend this kind of, you know, relationship, you know, with these people who are totally foreign to it, but yet they're on every wave of it, any wave of it.
There's a vibe or frequency about the reggae music that touches the soul.
Yes.
And that's why I said the reggae music is a lot more powerful than sometimes we realize.
Give us some credit for it.
The marketplace probably doesn't give all the opportunities, and those are the things that we still have to be fighting for and pushing back on.
Yeah.
Bob Marley was able to make a lot of headway with that, but the force behind him, you know, has not been as great, you know, like a tsunami. You know?
Yes, right.
You know, so we have to just keep on
Yeah.
doing that, and one area of that is you know, encouraging the young artists coming up to go back and learn from how music is made, you know, so they can put it in their music, right? You know, what was it that Bob Marley was doing in his music that people wanted to listen to, open up to, because the music is still loved around the world.
Absolutely. Everywhere you go, every day, you can hear Bob Marley somewhere going on.
Yeah, it's still loved every day.
Yeah.
And that is not just by accident. It's not a fluke. You know, there's something there. There's some ingredients there that is missing nowadays.
Pure love of Jah.
Yeah.
Pure love of Jah. I can just, you know, it's been a pleasure. Orville, Malcolm, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. I've learned so much from you. I've been so inspired by you. And I'm thankful to know that you inspired me in '84 somewhere when I didn't even know you. And here you are coming into the street and inspiring us here this morning. Thank you so much for being here with us.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Oh man, I'm telling you, you're invited anytime back, and we want to see Miss Castle at any time she's available to come talk to us, because her picture kind of, you know, captivated me. Right? All right, that's great.
All right.
Now, thank you so much for being here with us. We are so grateful to have had Orville in the studio with us and giving us all this love and real appreciation for the music that we all love, or should love, and are going to love. So, thank you again for being here with us this morning. We appreciate you, and we are live from Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, and this is ReggaeTelevisionNetwork.com saying goodbye until next week. Thank you so much for being with us. Bye.